Hi, welcome back to C Programming. I am your Dr. Vasu. I am sharing this function, these programs in Google Drive, and you can find the link in description. Okay. If you want to learn this and many other interesting topics, please do subscribe the channel. And if you like this, hit the like button. And now we are going to see what this function calling another function. Okay. Function calling, it's very interesting, no? So what is calling functions? A function calls another function. That means within one function, we use another function, right? So that function in turn calls another. When you write one program, one function to do a particular task, in that function, we use another function. So that's very interesting, and it is called top-down programming. Top-down programming means you take a bigger task and divide it into small pieces, right? Instead of doing a multiple number of times without doing it again and again and again, we divide the tasks into smaller tasks and subtasks like that. So that is called top-down programming. So it is a structured programming, right? Also, we can call this as structured programming. And we can call a function prior to writing that function itself. It's very interesting. Even without writing the program, you can just call that function also, right? In the main program, we can write it. Later, you can define and describe all the function. Now, let us see how it is. So here, write different functions for addition and subtraction of two values. We have to write two different functions for addition and subtraction. And also write separate function to read the required data. The data required for these functions is coming from a different function. That is the meaning of it, and we are going to see how it works. So here, if you observe, so let us take a one function called read value. Earlier, if you observe in the previous videos, if you have observed, to get the data, we have been writing enter the data for A, enter the data for B. Like this, we have been writing many a number of times. So here, to avoid that, we'll do one thing. This function is to read the value. It doesn't require any parameters. It doesn't take any values. Just it's a read value, that's all, empty brackets. But it returns a value, float. So inside, we have taken a variable p, enter a value. You are asked to enter one value. And that value is assigned to p. Okay, this p is returned. The value, this p, which is a float, this float value is returned to the calling function, which has called this function, is getting this value p here. Now, this value, this read function, this read value function can be used many a number of times. Let us see that here. Another function for addition of two values, which are two floats, x and y, and it is returning void, nothing. Now, coming to this, we have taken a one temporary variable, temp, and here we are calling this function read value. This read value already we have defined, and we are calling this function here. It doesn't require any parameters. So just named the value, that function name. And this function returns a value p here, which is a float. This float is assigned, the value which has come here is assigned to x, which is a float. Okay, which is also defined as a float here. And this x is getting the value from this function, using this function. Now, y we get the value of y also by using this function called read value. So this function is being called many a times inside another function called addition. So this is function calling function. Now, after getting these two values, x and y, we add them here and put it in temp. And we'll display the temp value as the sum of these values. The sum is equal to this temp, the addition of these two values is displayed. Okay, now that's it. So here, this is the one function. Next, we write another function for difference to get the difference of these two values, x and y. Now the same principle, same thing, whatever you have done here is done, repeated. But the thing is, here we are assigning the value which is obtained here by read value function to x here, and another value, second time repeating the same function, read value is assigned to y here. So we are getting x and y values. Now the difference is taken here, kept in temp, and we are displaying this temp value, the difference. Now that's it. These are the three functions here. Now coming to the main function, main program, these two functions are called here. We are not using this read value function. Just we are using only addition and difference functions, two functions. Okay, that's it. And if you observe one more thing here, this is the main program actually. But instead of writing this include statement, I have written very early in the on top of this. You can write it. Okay, so you can write it here itself and complete the main program. Now let us see, compile and execute this, and let's see what happens. Enter the value. It is asking for a value. That means the addition has come into execution. We are executing this addition, this statement. This has come here. So addition. Now inside this, it has asked the value here by activating this read value function, right? This read value is invoked here, and this read value function is called. So here, this is the value it is asked. It has asked, enter the value. Whatever the value you enter here is assigned to P, and this value has returned here, and this value is assigned to X here. That's how it comes. The value is assigned to X here. Similarly, it activates this function again, and the another value is given, and that 20 is assigned to Y. And these two are added and displayed here as a sum. That's it. This statement is over. Now the second statement, it is calling another function, difference. So here it comes and it takes activates these functions two times and gets the values of X and Y, and like this, X and Y values, and the difference is 15. Like this, we have used these three functions, but the functions inside another function we are calling. Okay, so here, if you observe, to get these values, we have repeatedly called this function read value number of times. We make a small difference here, and we'll see how it works. We are writing the same function read value to get the value, and here it returns P, the float value. Fine. Now addition function is written. In this addition function here, temp is equal to X plus Y. We have written X and plus Y. And okay, this is the function, main function here. Let us complete this main program also, and let us see why we have written like this. Now coming to this void addition function, this is for summing of these two values X, Y. What happened to these values? How did we get this X and Y values? How to, right? We have just directly we are adding this temp is equal to X plus Y. How? In the main function here we are reading these values. A here is equal to read value. That means it has taken the read value from this function, and this P is returned, and that value is assigned to A. Similarly, this is activated once again. This function is called again, and that value is assigned to B. That means we got these values A and B. After getting these values, we are passing on these values to these functions called addition. Now A and B got the values here. So A and B, when it is activated, this called, it gives the values of A and B, that is inside X and Y, of course. That means already we got this X plus Y, X and Y values. That's why it has directly able to add these two values and get the sum. Okay. So next, after this, what happens? Difference. For a difference function also, we are using the same A, B variables. A, B, same variables are used for this difference function. So these values, A and B values, are passed on to this function here, and X minus Y. This actually this become X and Y. So X minus Y, the difference is calculated and kept here and is displayed. So that's why instead of calling this read value functions inside these functions many a times, we directly used the values in the main program and passing on these values to the functions. Clear? Now, compile this and execute. You get a enter value. That means the main program started executing, and here read value, this first statement. This read value function is activated. So the read value, enter the value. So you entered 100 here. Now again second value, read value. Again it has come and enter the value. Yeah, entered 40. Right? The sum. Now what happens? This statement has come into existence. Executed. Addition A, B. Two values are added here, and 100 plus 40, 140. Next, this function is called difference. A, B, right? 100 minus 40. That is 100 minus 40. So 60. That's how we can reduce even the using this calling functions number of times. So it depends on the values, of course. Depending on the values and where to use this read value function, we'll be calling the functions like this. Okay. Hope you had understood this topic very well. And if you have any queries or suggestions, please do comment. And in the next video, we are going to see the structures. Okay.